Today is a very special day. I have friends here from Switzerland, and those friends have managed a brand that is really extraordinary from the beginning, from conception down to end up with a cult brand, I can say. So we have Markus and Daniel Freitag, the Freitag brothers from Zurich. It's a cult brand that you've created over the years. Yeah? Where does the culture of that cult brand begin?
I think it was the marriage of our father, a public relations specialist, and our mother. She's a social worker, and these are maybe the two, how you call it, genes Freitag has in it. So it's called social eco-marketing, what we do today. No, that would be the story which started in 1969 when I was born, in a way, and you 1 year later. But I think the second big time was 1993, when I moved to a freeway as a student, so I could not afford a better place to live. And this freeway was actually the inspiration of a product which is called an individual freeway bag, made out of truck tarps, seat belts and inner tubes. And I think that was like the birthplace of the brand of Freitag.
To recycle something and create a cult out of it, there's a difference. How come?
I think it was really the combination and the need of certain aspects. I think it was back in the time where fashion used to be more like a uniform, and I think so it was really the need also from our customer base. They wanted to be more individual, and I think that was really somehow new, the moment when we brought a recycling product, not with the approach of an eco brand or with the nature background, but it was really more like it was the functional use of the product, which was
But you didn't know that when you
That's true.
When you made it?
I think you probably feel it, that there's something right with it. And of course it was also the early reactions we had on the product. And I think we were really extremely focused on the product. We had not the plan to found a company, we had not the plan to grow a brand. It was really focused on the thing with our mindset. And I think optimizing and working on the details with that mindset.
So how did you handle manufacturing at that point of time?
With the hands. No, it was really from the student project growing into a company which is now 130 people. And we are all-rounders. And so I was more the guy behind the computer and the communication, and Markus was more the three-dimensional and conceptual person. And then the interaction between the two brothers kind of made nearby everything possible that was needed to start a brand, to start a product. We have been the sales agent, we have been the sewer, the cutter, the finance person. So I think that's also the benefit of our background, that we love to do everything.
Give us an idea, where is the stronghold of your community?
Actually, it's a product, it's a bag, but the common thing between our clients is more a way of thinking, I think. They are a little bit similar-minded. If they are 66 or 16, it doesn't matter, it's a certain type of guy. And I think this is really strong, and I don't know so many brands which have this wide range of clients.
You nearby can't describe it, and that's why sometimes Freitag is used to describe a target group. So this bar is for the Freitag kind of people. Maybe I sometimes just like to say that they are conscious people. They care about things. They care about what they use, what they wear, where they travel, where they go. And I think this consciousness.
Do they want to show it with the bag?
I think sometimes it's a statement, especially if you're working in a business where there are a lot of kind of norms that you are in. Then this is this little flag to show, like, hey, I might think a little different than you think of. Don't get the. I wear a suit, but I think different. And sometimes then the Freitag bag becomes this little flag to show that they have a certain mindset.
Yeah. Did you push it in communication, this idea, or did it just happen?
I think that since we have been honest from the beginning and authentic, we push it somehow in a direction. And I think that's just like the kind of the fruit that we can earn now from being ourselves for a long time.
Yeah.
But there was not like a big advertising campaign in the beginning. It was like our friends wearing the bag, and then it was the friends of the friends asking, where do you have this bag from? And it's word by mouth, I think.
Yeah, I think the advertising industry couldn't survive with us as clients. So we never really spent money on classic communication. Of course, if you make a nice packaging for your product, that's communication as well. So of course we spend money for communication, but not the classic advertising channels. So we never were doing any ad or any poster.
Could you imagine that, I mean, a bag company, maybe manufacturing messenger bags or so, could have had the idea? Or do you think it is necessary that you start somewhere with a radical idea, believe in it, practice it, see if there's a market, and then it develops?
I think it was a chance to be not from this field. So we had no idea where to get strong waterproof material. So it was this look out of the kitchen window, and then we saw the trucks, and then we thought, okay, they look waterproof, strong. Why not using those trucks for our bags? And if we would be professionals in bag makers, of course, we go to the suppliers and we order the new material. So therefore, I would say no.
We had a solid base of a Swiss design education, which I think this was a perfect base to think different in all kinds of departments and disciplines which are needed to build up a brand. But we had no idea about finance and bookkeeping. We had no ideas about sales and margins and how you do usually things. And I think that's a big chance sometimes, that you are also a little bit naive and kind of look at it your own way.
But also, we've been not coming out of the field of product or fashion design. So that was communication design, what we did. And I think maybe the first bag was looking very ugly, but the first packaging was proper done, because that was our profession, and maybe also the way we tell the story is proper done. And okay, somehow we managed to make the bags also nicer from.
There's no second other bag.
No.
Yeah? I mean, you really point that out. Who worked on it? Who designed it?
The story was first, and then we tried to develop a product on the same level than the story is.
When did you realize that you have these one-word culture that you have to live up with, which is recycling and using used things?
I think it was always the process of taking something and reuse it, and the moment when, how you call it?
Transformation.
The transformation happens, then people start to recognize the Freitag story. So a container turns into a store, a truck tarp becomes a bag, and I think this, we call it recontextualization.
Were there any obstacles in the development of your company?
Major, probably not. I mean, there was no big failure or something. We really could grow organically and kind of one step by the other, but I would say it's a daily challenge. You don't realize at the moment when you're in it, then I still would call it challenge, because that is fun to solve, it's fun to find new ways, so I think we had mostly nice weather.
It's getting more difficult, because first he was my own obstacle and I was his obstacle, and today we have so many people in the company. So no, I think
What were the obstacles between the two of you?
No, a good one. I think brothers are challenging each other all the time. I think it was a good competition, and it was more a joke.
So,
I think it's needed. Friction is needed to run through a certain process, and I think that's helpful, and it certainly helps to improve the quality. And of course, the complexity somehow grows with the growing of a company. So till now, we have been able to keep up with the growing.
So decision making, how does it work between the two of you?
No formal thing. It's usually it's an informal talk that we have, and I don't remember sitting us on a table and the one thing says left and the other one right. I think it's always a question of dialogue, and I think now I think that the more difficult thing is to how do you transform this dialogue into a message that everybody understands and in the company. And
how do you lead people?
Usually with examples, and that's a bit the challenge now. The bigger you get, the more international you get, then you have the distance, the time zones, the language, the cultures.
Do many ideas come from your people?
Yeah, but in the end it's always a little bit a challenge between our ideas and their ideas, and some ideas from some suppliers.
I mean, you kind of invented these recycled messenger bags.
Yeah.
How about competition?
There are some followers which are doing the same, a little less nice, a little cheaper, a little on a lower level, which I personally don't like, because it takes the idea on a lower level.
But that gives people the chance to compare.
In Switzerland, the main supermarket chain called Migros, they did a copy which was called Tuesday instead of Friday, like our brand. And then it went through media into the main big news. So
best advertising,
that was the day when we became the original one. So as long there is no copy, you're not original. So.
But if somebody calls Donnerstag instead of Freitag, then it really points out the fact that we are the Freitag bag. So I think it was an important step in our history.
You're in the Museum of Modern Art in New York. Now you've opened a shop in New York. I mean, you've entered this market. A lot of outlets are selling your product in Tokyo. Now you will build your own store. Here in Berlin, you have your store. Where does it go?
Of course, now it sounds really good because we have stores in some big cities around the world. But they are not on Fifth Avenue or something like that, so it's still a little bit in the backyard.
A recycled street.
Yeah. And I think this is the place which fits very good to Freitag. So still people have to find Freitag. It's not that we are on the way to them too pushy. So I think that makes it in a way also sustainable, I think, our growth.
Which is 30% every year, kind of, no? With the exception of 2008, it was only 20%. Who would cry, yeah? So, I mean, that is amazing. How do you manage that?
Yeah, I think the big challenge is really, since we stick with the concept of the reused material, and this is really difficult because you never know where you get how much material, in which quality, which color, for which price. So it's really challenging for our production department. Usually it's not about the production, it's about market the product. And this is also the funny thing about Freitag. Even if we can push it, we would not push it, I think.
Have you thought about what's all possible under the Freitag brand, under the label? I mean, must not be necessarily just bags.
I think we could take our values and go in a certain diversification. I think it's also the most dangerous step for a brand which was extremely consistent in the geographic kind of sense we can grow. We have still many options of how the collection should develop. There's many bags we could design which we don't have in the collection right now. And of course we also feel that the brand would probably be able to provide more than just bags.
Daniel, what do you admire about Markus most, and Markus, what do you admire about Daniel most?
Sticking on the details, as long as you have like a co-pilot like me. If I'm not there anymore, maybe you have to have the overview as well.
In the beginning, when you have a vision, then you need also to focus out on this kind of one simple thing, and I think that's definitely something which Markus is able to do, and also to question everything right when it's finished, and that's good.
Thanks for being here with us, and please have a look at the President's lecture.
Thanks for the invitation.
Thank you.
Thanks, Markus.
Thanks.